Hello, good evening. Welcome. This is Hot Edition. We're live on news about Desawe Kanda. Also live on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale and beyond. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. We're also live on Facebook at 3FM 927. I am Alfred Akrofi this evening. President Mahama gives Chief Justice 10 days to respond to the petition seeking her removal. We've got a conversation on the back of this and matters arising.
No basic evidence to back the allegations, then the case can be dismissed. But if basic evidence is found, if some evidence is found to back the allegations, then there will be a determination that the case should move forward.
Plus, CCTV captured Edouboahen's wife carting suspected cash after his arrest. We'll tell you what transpired in court earlier today in a matter between the state and a former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, and also two pupils of the Ben Konedo 7-Day Adventist Basic School have died, while two others are in critical condition after an accident on the Edukrom Asasieso Road in the Eastern region. Stay with us. We've got details plus the latest in business and sports over the next 1 hour, 30 minutes here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 plus. Energy Minister slashes ECG's budget to 250 million over missing containers saga. We've got details for you, as always, and you're integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you on Facebook and on X. Let's settle for a summary of the news now. Safwa Boahen is here.
Thank you, Alfred, and welcome to the news summary segment. Our first story, and President John Mahama has provided the Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo with details of the 3 petitions that seek her removal from office. The Chief Justice's response came 2 days after President Mahama forwarded the 3 petitions calling for the removal of the Chief Justice to the Council of State for further action. The President has, however, given the Chief Justice 10 days to submit a preliminary response to the 3 petitions. Away from that, Energy Minister John Jenapo has vowed to ensure that the previous management of the Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG, under which over 1,300 ECG containers were missing, will face the law. The minister claimed that between 2022 to 2024, ECG engaged in over-procurement and did not adhere to the approved procurement plan. A reason, he said, they could not clear some containers at the Tema Port, which eventually went missing. Now, 2 pupils from Ben Konedo SDA Basic School in Asante Achem are feared dead after their bus crashed on the Assesoso stretch between Edukrom and Somenya. More than 15 others sustained injuries and are currently receiving treatment at the Tetekwashi Memorial Hospital and Kuforidia Government Hospital at Somenya District Hospital. The bus was carrying 62 children on an excursion to Akosombo when the driver reportedly lost control while descending a hill. The vehicle somersaulted before landing on its side. Now, CCTV footage has captured the wife of embattled former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Kwabena Edouboahen, carton suitcases suspected to contain foreign currency following his arrest. This was revealed in court by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Remsai on Friday, March 28, 2025. Dr. Remsai presented the case in an Accra Human Rights Court, argued that Angela A.J. Boaten's actions suspected or suggested an attempt to destroy crucial evidence linked to the alleged embezzlement of state funds. The footage reportedly shows her hurriedly handling the suitcases on the night she was notified of her husband's arrest. And this brings us to the end of the news summary segment. And over to you, Fred.
Safa Boahen, thank you so much. This morning is on 3news.com. Let's also make some time and visit 3news.com. Let's get to our stories now. Some unfortunate news we're receiving right now. 2 pupils of the Ben Konedo 7-Day Adventist Basic School have died, while 2 others are in critical condition after an accident on the Edukrom Asasieso Road in the Eastern region. Several others, including teachers and pupils with life-threatening injuries, are currently receiving treatment at various health facilities in the area. I'm going to connect with Eastern Regional Correspondent Yvonne Nikwe in a bit. But Samuel Ntiama is a teacher from the Ben Konedo 7-Day Adventist School. He gives an account of exactly what happened.
Sima ya kupana association na association na ase kwambia on your people science and another science ship into you say car you know you need to make I can say driver no
And Eastern Regional Minister Rita Akosua Awate has also been speaking about this. But before we hear from her, Yvonne Nico is our Eastern Regional correspondent. She's joining us on the telephone right now. Yvonne, quite worrying developments there. What more can you tell us about this accident?
Well, Alfred, it's been a worrying incident today, having to see these young ones who were on their way to an educational tour in Akosombo get through this accident. It's an unfortunate one. Like you've early on said, a number of them have been discharged, including their teachers. We do know that 2 of them are still at the Koforidua Central Hospital, critical condition, but quite 7 more are at the Ilokrobo Government Hospital, still on admission. The doctors are supposed to take care of them until they are stabilized before they return them back to the Ashanti region where they are coming from. Now, this accident particularly is raising more questions on drivers' carefulness on the road, because it's a very curvy path that we're seeing that drivers who are not knowledgeable of the road or haven't used it for a number of times do slip, and then we're seeing accidents happening on our road. We're only hoping that beyond this tragic thing we're seeing, the drivers and then probably the highways authority will help by mounting better visibly road signages to ensure that drivers are more careful, especially the first timers who are using that stretch, to ensure that we don't have any accidents occurring again.
I see, and confirm this for us, because we're hearing that the students were en route to Akosombo for an excursion when this accident happened.
Exactly so. These are students from the Konongo Odumase basic school students who were traveling from the Ashanti region to the Eastern region for an educational tour at Akosombo. Unfortunately, they didn't get to their destination when the accident occurred early hours today. One of the teachers narrated that the driver lost control of the wheel, and then the bus slipped on the road and then had to turn on the shoulders of the road. It took locals, the ambulance service personnel, and drivers to rescue them out of the trapped vehicle. When you see the scenes, very disturbing ones. Unfortunately, we've lost 2 of the pupils as I speak to you. We're hoping that the parents back home will be consoled from this tragic accident.
I see. And how about the injured? We understand that some of the teachers and some students as well sustained some life-threatening injuries. Any updates on that?
Yes, as I speak to you, over 30 of them have been discharged, but 7 more are at the Ilokrobo Government Hospital on admission. And so their case is a bit serious, and so they have to be on admission. 2, which are very dire situation, have been transferred to the Koforidua Government Hospital to ensure that their situations are stabilized, because it's been a very serious one. Seeing these young ones averagely in their teens going through this accident is being a terrible one for them.
See, and Yvonne, appreciate you for this. I thank you so much for the updates, and quite unfortunate developments in there. If you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, we're showing you drone videos of this particular accident and some of the people we spoke to. So log on to 3FM927 on Facebook right now. We have the drone video of this accident, which is claimed at least 2 persons, we understand, have been confirmed dead, while several others sustained injuries after this bus they were traveling in crashed at Aseseso between Edukrom and Somanya. Now, the victims are reportedly from the Ben Konedu SDA Basic School in the Asante municipality of the Ashanti region. A tragedy occurred when the bus registered as GV 8322 and belonging to Collins Senior High School in the Santiago lost control while descending the Aceso Hill, and the vehicle reportedly somersaulted multiple times before landing on its side. The students were en route to Akonsombo for an excursion when the crash happened. Eastern Regional Minister Rita Akosia Awate, who was passing through the area, joined rescue efforts and helped transport some injured students to the Yilokrobo Municipal Health Center in Somania. Let's take a listen to the minister at the accident scene earlier today.
Alfred Akrofi teacher for na alive when in Kwadana was Somania District Hospital. No, you sure say back home, and 2 have also been referred to the Koforidua Central Hospital. They are also in a critical condition. So as it is now, it's not easy for all of us here. I'm here.
So that's the Eastern Regional Minister there. Now, an official at the Yilokrobo Municipal Hospital provided updates on the condition of patients involved in the accident, confirming that 2 critical cases have been referred to the Eastern Regional Hospital for specialized care. According to the hospital officials, the remaining patients are stable and are receiving treatment as we speak. Tragically, 2 individuals, we understand a 65-year-old woman and a 16-year-old girl, were brought to the hospital dead. We're keeping an eye on this one, and we understand the hospital is currently managing the care of approximately 31 of the students who are reported to be in stable condition. So we'll keep an eye on that. Stay with us here on Hot Edition, also on Kesmi 107.1 and on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's take a listen to the clinical coordinator at the Yilokrobo Municipal Hospital, Dr. Grace Gajekpo.
This morning we heard of an RTA about 65 students and elderly people who were involved in an RTA as assessors when traveling from Koforidua coming to Somania and in our facility at Yilokrobo District Hospital, about 40 students and tutors were brought to our end. We have 2 who were critically injured, referred to the Koforidua Regional Hospital. 20 who had minor injury, which we have treated and they are stable. 2 were brought in dead. Then the rest have been sent to other facilities. That's it.
And you have there the clinical coordinator at the Yilokrobo Municipal Health Center, Dr. Grace Gajekpo, there. Away from that and to an issue that we've been following over the last at least 72 hours, President John Mahama has provided copies of the petitions from the 3 individuals to the Chief Justice, and this is what the update to this situation that has been evolving since Tuesday evening. So yesterday we got to know of that request by the Chief Justice for the copies of the petition, the 3 petitions against her. Well, what we're hearing today is that President John Mahama has provided copies of the said petitions from these 3 individuals to the Chief Justice, Gertrude Isabatokono. The President has also subsequently given the Chief Justice 10 days to respond to the petition seeking her removal. Now let's get a background to this. 3 separate individuals petitioned the President to remove the Chief Justice from office. The content of the petition is, however, not known. The President, per constitutional requirement and as confirmed by the Minister of Government Communications, Phyllis Kwatiofosu, confirmed that 3 petitions have indeed been forwarded to the Council of State in line with Article 1466 of the 1992 Constitution. The Chief Justice, however, wrote to the President requesting to be given copies of the petitions against her submitted to the President before conclusions of consultations between the President and the Council of State under Article 146, Clause 6. Now, Justice Tokono based her request on the common law principle of natural justice, where a defendant must be given hearing before proceeding to arrive at a decision. Dennis Probert Wedam Esquire is with me in studio. Is with the legal and political desk here, heading the research in there for us here at TV3 and on 3FM 92.7. It's good to have you. Dennis Baberi-Wadam. Talk to us. Let's walk us through really what is contained in the said letter from the president, essentially responding to some of the issues that happened yesterday.
Well, so Alfred, the highlights of this particular letter from the presidency to the Chief Justice to the effect that she would be given the opportunity, in fact, to respond to the petitions that have been made available to the president in respect of her removal. You know, this has become a matter of controversy. Yesterday, since some persons decided to go to court seeking that the right procedure ought to have been that the president should have sent the petitions to the Chief Justice, asking her to respond to same before the consultation with the Council of State. However, I mean, the whole of yesterday was when that should be done, how it should be done, and all of that. However, the good news and what is refreshing is the fact that the president has now given that opportunity to the Chief Justice and explained the circumstances under which he came to this conclusion, and that it was already the intention of the president to have given her the opportunity to respond. As part of this letter, we get to now begin to see some new facts emerging. For instance, we didn't even know when the petitions were put before or were sent to the presidency. But from the letter, we are told that 2 of them were dated 14th February 2025, and then the third one was dated on the 17th of March 2025. Beyond that also, so the president explains that when he was forwarding the letter, the petitions to the Council of State, he did indicate that per what he knows, he intended to give the opportunity to the Chief Justice to respond. He said he only got that response on the 27th of March. 27th was yesterday.
Yes,
it was
right.
also the same yesterday that the Chief Justice wrote to the President requesting copies of the petitions. That is to say that while the President was waiting for the response of the Council of State to give him the green light to forward the petitions to the Chief Justice for a response, the Chief Justice, who also have heard about the petitions right from Tuesday, which was on the 25th, was also worried about the fact that there were petitions against her that she got to hear from the statement from the presidency but did not get the petitions. 2 days on, she also wrote to the presidency. At the same time, when she was writing to the presidency for the petitions, the Council of State had also written to the president to say that, yes, we have given you the green light to forward the petitions to the Chief Justice. So it's the whole situation looks a bit complex, but if you unpack the issues, you can understand why there seemed to be that kind of confusion because of the time lapse. Because as at the time one person was doing one thing, the other person wasn't in the know. But bottom line is that the president has now said that, okay, petitions be forwarded to the Chief Justice, give her 10 days to respond, and then we take it from there. What is however unclear is now the fifth of these legal actions that are pending before the courts. At least we know 2 writ of summons and then an injunction application which is expected to be heard on Wednesday next week. It's uncertain how that is going to pan out. But if you look at it on the face of it, it does appear that the matters in contention would have been resolved by the president's new letter to the Chief Justice, giving her the petitions and asking her to respond to same.
I see, because the crux of that injunction by Vincent Asifwa was that the Chief Justice should have been in the known, and as a result, the process should be put on hold until she is put in the known, is it not?
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes.
So now that she's in the known, does that render the injunction moot?
That's really would lie with the courts and of course also with the applicant in this matter, applicant in respect of the injunction application. And that's because there are 2 ways. If the court itself deems that the matters have already been resolved, the court may consider the whole application moot. Again, even if before the court even makes a determination, the applicant thinks that the issues that have been raised in that application for the injunction have also been resolved, they may also consider withdrawing that application, and then they proceed. If they still want to go ahead with the writ of summons itself, they can do so. However, again too, if they also proceed with it and the court thinks that the matters have been resolved, it can also consider that also as a moot matter. But that's why I'm saying that the future looks uncertain. It's largely dependent on the plaintiffs in this matter and also largely on the courts.
And you know that I was asking a question yesterday of you and Christian Mamhesi that there are those who held the view that both the Chief Justice and Vincent Nsifo probably were just going ahead of themselves, because to the extent that the process is still in motion, it was just a matter of time that, you know, she was going to be put in the known of the details of the said petition, and that's what's happened now.
But like I explained, sometimes the law actually it's advisable that you are proactive rather than being reactive. That is to suggest that, and like we saw in the timelines, the Chief Justice, she got to know of it on Tuesday. On Wednesday, she had not got the petition. Thursday, she took a step. So where there is a likelihood of a breach of your right or the Constitution, you can take steps to protect same. It's not always the case that you have to wait for the harm to be done before you go to seek a remedy. So within that context, that explanation really will not be entirely true. It's an option that, yes, she could have waited, but also it's not out of place for you to take a step early enough. It's preemptive protection, if I may call it that way. So, I mean, that matter really is neither here nor there.
Wonderful point then. And 24 after 5. And let's stay a bit further on this, because a number of persons who have also been sharing their thoughts on this particular development and how the way forward will look like from today. So essentially, Dennis, what the president is saying is that 10 days from now, yes, he expects a response to the petitions, all
yes,
three, from the Chief Justice.
And it's also instructive to know that the Chief Justice herself was asking for 7 days. When she wrote a letter to the presidency asking for the petitions and also to be given the opportunity to respond, she wanted 7 days to do so. Now the president largely has added 3 more days to that. So the expectation is that once that is done, then the consultation process can progress to a point where, the outcome of that consultation process largely will inform the next line of action as to whether there will be a committee to be formed or not, and all that comes thereafter under Article 1466 of the 1992 Constitution.
Perfect point. Now, but for the number of days given for the response, that is not also explicitly stated in the Constitution, is it not?
Yes, we explained that yesterday on Ghana Tonight, that unlike the OSP, where now that law, which is relatively new by the way, has actually provided for timelines that within specific periods of time, certain things must be done. When it comes to the case of the Chief Justice, as provided for under Article 1466, it does not expressly state what should be done at what period of time. It only gives a roadmap as to what should be done. So, it's likely within 10 days for the Chief Justice to respond to the petition, for a primary consultation to continue. That consultation, per the decision of Frank A.J. Chum and the Attorney General, should include the determination of a prima facie case. Thereafter, the committee will be put together, and then they'll take it from there. We do not know how long this process may last because, like we said, no timelines have been indicated in the Constitution. But as much as possible, all the necessary things that need to be done as provided for in law should actually be complied with.
So Dennis, stay with me a bit. So now that this conversation is evolving in a very interesting way, Christian Mamahese is private legal practitioner joining us on the telephone right now. Counsel, appreciate your time. As we do know now, President Mahama has given the Chief Justice 10 days to submit a preliminary response to the 3 petitions calling for her removal from office. She was asking for 7 days yesterday. President has given her 10 days. And even going ahead to assure her that indeed due process will prevail in handling the said petitions against her. Now, how does all of this strike you?
It is in the right order. It is in the right order. And indeed, these are some of the arguments that Dr. Dateba had espoused in the Duchum case. It is in the right order, and indeed, as I had mentioned in previous days, you see, the contributions of the Chief Justice in her response would cause the determination of a prima facie case, and thereafter the hearing would begin. If it is satisfying that the content thereof is anything to go by. So I believe that the tenets of natural justice has been established as far as this particular matter is concerned, and also the required stage of prima facie to be determined before the hearing is done or is carried out to seems to be in order, because that is what is rightly unfolding before our eyes.
I see. Now, also, there was an injunction that was filed yesterday by Vincent Asifua. The crux of that injunction was that the whole process should be put on hold until the Chief Justice is put in the known of the details of the petition against her. Now, she has copies of all three petitions against her and the details thereof. What becomes of the petition by Vincent Asifua?
Ordinarily, by law and procedure, that particular injunction is rendered moot, because you see, injunction by tribes law is discretionary, and as discretionary as it is also timeous. It should be brought timeously, such that if the act that one is seeking to injunct has already been carried out, then there is nothing to injunct. If you look at the High Court rules, CI 47 Order 25, it deals copiously with the procedures for injunction, and so which it mentions the elements that I am talking about. So indeed, once that which he was seeking to deal with or have cured is currently underway in accordance with the tenets of law, that particular application is rendered moot.
Council, I appreciate your time on this, and I know that this evolving matter has also led to some making the call that there has to be a consideration of a review of that particular provision in our Constitution. Is it one that you would support?
Yes, it's one that I support, and there has been some work in that direction. You realize that there is the omission of who carries out prima facie establishment, and I had mentioned in previous days that is an anomaly. But you see, in constitutional interpretation, we deal with what we call the objective purpose and then the subjective purpose. The objective purpose deals with the spirit of the Constitution, and the subjective purpose deals with what the framers actually intended those provisions to mean. And so in construing the objective purpose, we look out for the history, the history, whether history simpliciter or the legal history as far as those provisions are concerned, or anything relating to that. We also look at the core legal values or the legal systems, and then we now look at the general provision, and then we balance the two in order to establish whether the interpretation of it would make it absurd. Now, in coming to that conclusion, it requires that a prima facie ought to be established before the hearing begins with that particular committee. And these are the very things that Dr. Dateban argued. So we are having legal procedures pan out, and we believe that it will continue to the end. And at the end of the day, when justice is served, it is Madagana that wins.
Okay. I do appreciate your thoughts on this, and Alhaji Yunus Afuseni is joining us right now as well for a conversation on this. He is a private legal practitioner, so is in good standing, former member of parliament, former minister, lands and natural resources, many other ministries, and contributing his quota to the development of this country. Alhaji Yunus Afuseni, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Ocansey, for having me.
It's good to have you. It's been a while indeed. Now, you make the argument that the president did nothing wrong in forwarding the petitions to the Council of State, even at the blind side of the Chief Justice. But now, this development, as the president has now made her aware of the details of the petition and then also forwarded copies to her, you still stand by the same point?
Oh, yes. Now, so the Chief Justice wrote to the President that she wanted the copies of the petition so that she could prepare her response. And the President is minded to give her copies. Simply portrays the President as somebody who has no ill intent against the Chief Justice, just doing his constitutional duty of forwarding the petition to the Council of State for the establishment of a prima facie case. So if the Chief Justice's case would be better enhanced, or if the forwarding the petitions will make it more transparent and accountable, the President thinks we do that. I mean, these are private citizens of this country who have petitioned the President for the removal of the Chief Justice. It is not the President who is asking for the Council of State to remove the Chief Justice. And so what the President has done is a feather in the cap of the President.
I see. You say it's a feather in the cap of good governance.
Yes.
But then again, it was something that was bound to happen. It was supposed to happen, is it not?
No, it was not bound to happen.
Why is that?
Why? Because it was a prima facie case. I mean, you look at the Tabas rule, I've heard the person you called. Clearly, the establishment of the prima facie case is to sieve, is supposed to act as like a sieve, to sieve out frivolous and vexatious petitions. In the whole scheme of things, is to protect the dignity and sanctity of the office of the Chief Justice and ensure that the independence of the judiciary is maintained. And so, if there are frivolous and vexatious petitions, the President, in consultation with the Council of State, can see into it and say, well, this petition discloses no reasonable course of action against the Chief Justice, and so we are not going to set up a committee, even without recourse to the Chief Justice.
I see. Without recourse to the Chief Justice, wouldn't that be a violation of Article 19?
Article 19 is fair. What is Article 19 saying? Fair trial.
Exactly. So, I mean, just on the orders of natural justice, at least, so that the other person gets to know.
You are saying Article 19. Article 19 is fair trial. But this is not a trial yet. We have not gone there yet. When the President Akufo-Addo dismissed the petition of Professor Kokwaza, a day before he left office, did he forward the petition to the Chief Justice? Did he do that?
No, well, not that we know of.
Yes, I'm just saying that these are preparatory stages. Primary, like the Tabas said in his judgment, primary stages of the process. And clearly, no mischief will be done if the Council of State, and the Tabas makes it clearly, they must play a very important role in determining whether there is a prima facie case. The Council of State, because of the principles of separation of powers, and clearly, our Constitution, our history, our core values are founded on the independence of the judiciary and the principles of separation of powers.
Rightly so, but then again, there have been that argument, and earlier, before the President made these copies aware to the Chief Justice, the concern was that, at least on the principle of natural justice, you cannot proceed on this path of establishing prima facie without notifying the person on which these accusations are made against.
Who has told you that? And so what? So I just cited to you the case of President Akufo-Addo dismissing the petition of Kokwaza without recourse to the Chief Justice, on the grounds that the petition of Professor Kokwaza disclosed no reasonable course of action. So did the President breach the rules of natural justice?
And this is a question that I'll ask Mr. Christian Hesimam on the other line. How about this particular argument as well, Mr. Hesimam?
Yes, hello, I'm here.
I can hear you clearly. Now, you hear Enusa Fuseni make that point that to the extent that in the case of Professor Kokwaza, for instance, the former president did not necessarily consult or seek the views of the current Chief Justice before dismissing the petition of Professor Akrofi Ocansey. It cannot be stated that it is a rule that the Chief Justice should be consulted in the process of consultation by the by the Council of State in determining a prima facie case.
I honestly would endear my colleague, my learned colleague, to read the full judgment of Dr. Dateba that was also concurred by the then leadership, Georgina Wood, in the case of Frank Educhum and the Attorney General. And the fact that that situation happened does not mean that it is a blanket situation. And the learned jurist gave a lot of scenarios and went deeply into comparative legal analysis on interpretation, approach of interpretation, and considered Article 146 copiously. Now, it considered Article 146 in relation to a lot of cases, considering the New Patriotic Party case versus Attorney General. It considered also the Ghana Bar Association and Attorney General in respect of the removal of Aban CJ, and dealt with other constitutional cases, considering Tufo and Attorney General, Kunehia versus Acha.
But brother, the cases you are mentioning, I've read the judgment.
Yes,
I've read the judgment.
And
the question is, they say that we are on a major platform, and I'll pray that we talk in alternate order so that the public could hear the informed submissions that we are making. Other than that, we will not be able to make any headway. There will be contortion in whatever we are putting out there. Yeah. So what basically I'm saying is that when the Constitution must be read as a whole, and the major authority is coming from that judgment, and indeed the person that you are accusing in respect of removal has to know what the situation is, must know what is being said of him or her, to the extent that it went to determine the time that the prima facie ought to be determined. You asked of me of that yesterday. It says that the Constitution as we have it omitted. The framers omitted it. Now, in construing it, if we construe it literally, it would render the interpretation absurd. So it is not that the president is doing us a favor by running it to her, or is good governance like he's saying. Yes, once it's following in accordance with law, it's appreciated, and it also has a part on good governance. But it is not a gratuitous gesture that one is carrying out and say, thank you for doing it for me. Indeed, it could probably be construed that if the Chief Justice had not written to the President for such a legal remit to be considered, it may or may not even come up. So we should appreciate the procedures as they are going, and it should be devoid of any form of prejudice or motive.
You have just one.
I see. Well, it's a matter that is playing out, and it's one that in the coming days we will see, because the Chief Justice, as per the President's letter to her, has 10 days to respond. So this is what we'll keep an eye on as well. Christian Mamhesi, private legal practitioner, thank you. To you as well, Haji Nusa Fuseni, I thank you very much for joining us, a private legal practitioner, a former member of parliament, a former minister of the Republic of Ghana, holding many portfolios as well, joining us on this matter. But CCTV footage has captured the wife of embattled former Director General of the National Signals Bureau, Kwabena Eduboahing, cutting suitcases suspected to contain foreign currency following his arrest This was revealed in a court by Deputy Attorney General Dr. Justice Shremsai on Friday. That's earlier today. Dr. Shremsai, presenting the case in an Accra Human Rights Court, argued that Angela J. Boateng's actions suggested an attempt to destroy crucial evidence linked to the alleged embezzlement of state funds. The footage reportedly shows her hurriedly handing the suitcases on the night she was notified of her husband's arrest. The case against Eduwahi stems from allegations that he misappropriated funds from a $7 million cyber defense contract signed that's between Ghana and its Israeli firm RLC Holdings Limited in 2020. Meanwhile, an Accra High Court has reduced the bail conditions of the former Signals Bureau director from 120 million to 80 million cedis with two sureties, with one justification. That of his wife remains the same. Both passports should remain with Yoko and travels should be on express permissions. Yes, counsel for the couple, Samuel Atachia, speaking after court proceedings earlier today.
Your comments, counsel, during your arguments with the court, you did indicate that if the court gives the equal power of the courts to the AG, a number of you will be put.
Of course.
What does that mean?
It means that the power for justice delivery is not with the law enforcement agencies and investigators, with the court. It's the court that should set a man free and not those who are the captors. And it should hold sway in everywhere where civility is being practiced and democracy is being practiced. There's never a time that the freedom of an individual was ceded to those who are investigating. That freedom is with the court. So when they see their power, the 48-hour rule, anybody can come to court to come and seek justice. This is what we've done.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Samuel Atacha there, lawyer for that's the former Director General of the National Signals Bureau there, Kwame Dubwahin. And it's one that we're keeping an eye on. But Energy Minister John Jinapor has vowed to find the 1,346 missing ECG containers and get the perpetrators to account for it. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, the minister says he remains unperturbed in finding the containers. Here are excerpts of what happened in Parliament earlier today between the minister and the minority leader, Alexander Apanyoma-King.
1,346 containers. Whatever it takes, I'll bring those containers to where they ought to be. They gave us a figure of 3,000. Then they told us it had incurred demurrage of 1.5 billion. I was sworn into office on the 17th. On the 24th, I visited the harbour. At the harbour, I was told the containers were 2,500. That is what aroused my suspicion. I didn't say at the harbour that the containers are 2,500. The report was submitted just this week. It was during the presentation of the report that the committee told me that contrary to the figures they were giving you, over 1,300 containers cannot be accounted for. So those who are on social media and trying to play the political game, let me assure you, it will not deter me. Mr. Speaker, I just came from Kong. We've gone to 4 warehouses. 2 of them are factories. And what they've been doing over the years is that they buy these containers with brand new aluminum cables and then melt them into aluminum rods and export them. I've received a lot of briefing, and I'm getting to know those who are behind it. This has been going on for years. I will stop that, and it will stop right now. But Mr. Speaker, it's not just going to stop. We shall retrieve the containers of the materials. We shall prosecute the perpetrators, and we will sell the rods to recover the cost.
The minority leader promised his support for the minister.
It's a system problem that I will any day support this minister to embark on reforms. It is true that when these containers come, there is some connivance with some customs officials, and they sell these containers, these cables, that ECG needs after the supplier has been paid. They sell the container and then people resell back to ECG. Are we pretending we don't know? Instead of us to pay attention and kill the rots, then we come here, then MPP, NDC, issue at stake. It's scandalous. It's serious. It's not MPP, NDC matter. All these public institutions, and sometimes some of the appointees of the previous government, you see them even saying that they are professionals. They were not MPP. Now they come here and then they are dining with you. You're also happy. When you lose power, they turn around and they do this and that and that. And then they are hitting our heads and we are here. Tackle the issues. $700 million is not cheap money. Go to ECG. Those companies are chasing ECG, and now because the minister is enforcing the cash waterfall, they say they get only 40 million cedis, and the 40 million cedis is not even enough to pay salary. Those officers at ECG, those directors, they are the ones who should hold them to account and stop this political football. Minister, I do not think an answer to the problem is a political inquiry. Hold the bull by the horn. And I, Kwamina, will support you because I've been there. In fact, I've seen a lot of the rot in our public service system. I've seen a lot of the rot in the SOEs, but they take advantage of us as politicians. The managing director of ECG, the director of procurement, must be seen to be telling us why, as a director of procurement, he will issue a contract, and then the contract is that deliver at the port, bring bill of lading, and ask for payment without even having access to it. And then a minister is to take a blame. A minister must not take a blame on this matter.
Very interesting developments there in Parliament. That's Alexander Afenyomarkin, the minority leader. And the reason why you hear him saying that he is going to support the current energy minister on this quest of identifying where these containers are is because he was the former board chairman of the Electricity Company of Ghana. And that's why you hear Alexander Afenyomarkin made that particular position clear on his support for this. But this is one that also generated a lot of conversation, especially as to what has to be done to ensure that persons who are responsible for these containers going mysteriously missing are also brought to book or made to answer for that particular incident. So this is one that we're keeping an eye on because of the conversation that ensued in Parliament that was earlier today. But my colleague Komla Kluche has been following this quite closely. He spoke to the National Security Officer in charge of this operation that led to the identification of these Chinese nationals. We understand 10 of them and a Ghanaian who are alleged to have sold the content of these containers to these Chinese. I'll take a listen to him giving details of how the operation went.
Scrap companies. We followed that intel and got to this particular company located in Shire Hills. And we realized that several of these ECG cables have been cut into pieces and then melted into liquid form, molded into round aluminum bars, and then some in powdered form, which they export at very expensive prices. Now, apart from the one that they melt and sell, we also have some stock. And this particular warehouse, where the quantity you see here are from so many containers that we have been looking for all this while. We have found these cables here, which was actually sold to them with the connivance of some Ghanaians that we are gathering intelligence to arrest. But so far, on arrival here, we have been able to pick 8 Chinese suspects and then 1 Ghanaian. who is a manager. But the owner of the company, I would prefer to keep the name for now. Is on the run, but a team is on one hand for him, and we are sure very soon he will also be arrested.
Who is this owner and what's his nationality?
The owner is a Chinese. The owner is a Chinese, and the company is known as Conlock Company Limited. They are solely into scrap materials. That's the aluminium scrap material. They buy and mold it into food product and export.
Okay, how long have you been doing this investigation?
In fact, we commenced this investigation about 2 weeks ago, when intelligence came in that these ECG containers are being diverted to various locations. But in actual fact, it started maybe several months ago, even before elections. But it's now that the intel have gotten to us, and we are determined to investigate and get all those who even started. No matter when it started, 2 or 3 years, we are determined to investigate and get the perpetrators arrested.
When you say that it started 2 weeks ago, I mean, we knew that upon the assumption of this administration, at the transition, what the minister said he handed over to him was in excess of about 3,000 or so containers. He mentioned. Yes, he mentioned some amount of containers that are locked up at the port, which remains uncleared. Only for us to get to know yesterday or a day before yesterday that these containers, well over 1,000, have gotten missing. And so, if you started the investigation about just 2 weeks ago, how do you juxtapose the concerns that people raise that these containers go missing under this administration?
As a secretariat, we can only speak to what we know after a complaint or a petition was received. So what I'm trying to say is that we received a petition 2 weeks ago, and what investigation has revealed so far is what I'm speaking to.
A petition from who?
A petition from a citizen of Ghana. It's not even one person. We have several people bringing in petitions, haven't gotten intel about it. So the secretariat picked it up. The secretariat operates in such a way that anybody at all can bring in a petition. And once we feel that petition borders on national security, we are obliged by law to commence investigation into it.
Would you apprise us exactly what the petition was seeking to do, or was seeking you to do?
The petitioners, all that they are seeking is that these are containers or cable that belong to the state. They are meant to provide electricity to Ghanaians. Some Ghanaians have not even gotten light in some various communities, especially in the villages. We have been hearing about people talking about Domso. Government is doing everything possible to ensure that electricity gets to everybody within the country. And so much investment has been put into this thing to import cables, to extend electricity to everybody, to make life stable or electricity stable. So if this thing is allowed to go on, then I don't see how we can stabilize electricity in the country.
Well, there's been an update to this because the Chief Superintendent Al-Hassan Osman, the Director of Investigations at the National Security Council, the man you just heard, has been providing more details about the information on the companies that are implicated in this particular diversion of the containers and its content procured by the ECG. So take a listen to him. Earlier today, my colleague Eric Mayonegbeta had a conversation with him when the minister, together with other officials of the Ministry of Energy, took a tour to Pong in Accra, where the national security officers uncovered the several cables being melted into poles for export.
They will get them for you. They are Chinese names. They will get them for you. So you can talk to them.
Right. Let's try and get a bit more from Mr. Osman Al-Hassan as well. And so this last company you were seeking to provide details for us on, you couldn't find or get them in the act, but they moved. Can you provide details as to really what transpired with the last company?
Thank you very much to you and your listeners. For security reasons, I'll prefer we keep that for now, because as I told you, we haven't gotten the suspect yet. And the more we talk, it means that we are blowing our own cover. It will make the investigation difficult.
From the interaction from some of the security personnel on the ground, there were attempts by these operatives at these respective companies to pay them off and have them look the other way with respect to what they were doing. I'm sure that came to your attention as well. And how did you go about this operation, because you've nabbed these individuals already?
This is a criminal gang or network, and I will even characterize them as an organized crime, organized criminals. And most often, they always want to pay their way through. Yes, of course, I also got that intel. They couldn't approach me personally, but some of them tried talking to some of the security personnel who followed me to these various crime scenes. And I picked that intel. But of course, that wouldn't work. That's why we decided to involve even the media, so that it also be another check for whatever that is happening. Thank you.
So far, do we know the number of people that are involved? Ghanaians and also Chinese and Indians, the number of people involved in companies?
As at yesterday, the earlier part, we had picked 10 Chinese and then 2 Ghanaians. But we have picked additional 2 Ghanaians, making the total 14, and they're all in custody. We have just picked some 4 people in Tema, but I am yet to interact with them, so I am not in a position to give you more facts on that one.
There were reports about Indians.
They are Ghanaians. They are all Ghanaians. No Indians.
As it was reported.
No Indians. No Indians yet. Yes. Yes, Ghanaians. Yes, Chinese and Ghanaians.
Chinese and 4
Ghanaians. Yes. Thank you.
So this is what happened earlier today at Bone. So this matter is playing out in a very, very interesting way. So we'll keep an eye on it here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7, also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale, and on W93.5 in Wa and beyond. Let's move on to some other issues here on Hot Edition. The Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, they've asked government to immediately reset the salaries and conditions of service of nurses and midwives without delay. According to the association, nurses and midwives contribute 2.5% of their salaries every month to foot their own medical bills. President of the Ghana Registered Nurse and Midwives Association, Perpetual Oforiampofo, was addressing nurses and midwives at the 65th anniversary of the association in Accra earlier today.
As far as I'm concerned, from the time I've been a student till now, the cry has always been on. I don't know, maybe is it that we can never get there, or getting there is just around the corner? I'm hoping that the government can reset our conditions of service and ensure that our collective agreement is implemented and we even get more than we asked for. We are also continuing to advocate for increased budget allocation for the health sector, so that it improves infrastructure, renovations, and all that. You see, our continued reliance on the IGF as a country is not the best. There was a time in the history of Ghana when facilities were supported from the Consolidated Fund to run services. This has stopped for so many years, and the reliance is on IGF. Leaders of facilities here will bear me out that the pressure on that, in addition to the fact that sometimes when we negotiate collective agreements or conditions of service, we still shift some of the benefits to the facilities to pay out of IGF. Yes, we know there are facilities that may be generating enough, but there may be other facilities who are not. But the general point is that let's continue to invest in health. by supporting our facilities to deliver the kind of health services that is required. When it comes to us, as providers of the health services, our health needs continues to be in the what? In the background. When you are sick, there are certain things they say it's covered under the NHIS. What will you see? You still have to take money out of the pocket. If you are a doctor, you are a nurse, or you are whatever.
As the president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Perpetual Oforiampo, for the so live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale on W 93.5 and Wire Beyond. We're back shortly with the latest in the world of business. Bismarck Ewusa is standing by.
It's the battle of the teams in a 3FM 60-day Fit Start Challenge. Which team will come up tops? Will it be Team Comfort or Team Helen? Will age and tact triumph? Or will youth and energy win? Call or WhatsApp on these numbers: 0532 300 927 or 0532 200 927. Now, to join Team Comfort or Team Helen and enjoy holistic wellness coaching, specialized diet plans, and cooking tutorials, thrilling exercises, challenges, and activities, plus many exciting rewards. 3FM Fit Start, sponsored by Daffy's Health and Beauty, Bill's Microfinance and UGL Premier, and supported by Blue Skies and the Ghana Medical Association. 3FM Fit Start, your health, your journey, your victory.
Hello, good evening and welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up tonight, monetary policy of the Bank of Ghana raises key lending rate to 28% to reinforce inflation control. We'll hear from Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama. I am Bismarck. Also now to the detail, the Bank of Ghana has raised its key lending rate by 100 basis points to 28%, marking a shift from previous unanimous decisions to a majority vote. The central bank cited strong liquidity conditions that could derail the disinflation process, emphasizing the need for tight monetary policy, strong liquidity management, and commitment to fiscal consolidation under the 2025 budget. Governor and Chairman of the Monetary Policy Committee, Dr. Johnson Isiama, was speaking at the 123rd MPC briefing here in Accra.
The persistent inflation dynamics over the past year, partly driven by both fiscal and monetary policy missteps, will require a policy reset to re-anchor the disinflation process. Now, to restore price stability going forward will require a tight monetary policy stance, strong liquidity management, and commitment to the 2025 budget, which seeks to reset the fiscal consolidation process. Now, on the monetary policy decision, under the circumstances, the committee decided to raise the monetary policy rate by 100 basis points to 28%, and this is meant to re-anchor the disinflation process.
And that was Governor and Chairman of the Monetary Policy Committee, Dr. Johnson Isiama. Moving on, Commissioner of Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, GRA, Brigadier General Glover Ashon Annan, has called on officers to redouble their efforts in mobilizing revenue for the country. The commissioner emphasized that Ghana's inability to access credit from the capital market makes it imperative to intensify domestic revenue mobilization. During the inauguration of the Custom Police Unit and the pull-out ceremony for the former commissioner, Brigadier General Annan stressed the need for renewed energy and dedication for customs officers.
more than ever, Ghana must mobilize sufficient domestic revenue for national development, and you and I stand at the heart of this agenda. The global financial landscape has shifted significantly in recent times. As a country, we do not have the benefit of some of the international funding sources that have hitherto been available to us. This means that we must look within to fund our development. This is where our job becomes very essential. The Customs Division is pivotal in ensuring Ghana has the necessary resources to fund infrastructure, education, health, and other essential sectors. We must work with renewed energy, loyalty, professionalism, and dedication. We must embrace innovation and transparency to enhance revenue collection and border security.
And that was Commissioner of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Brigadier General Glover Ashon Annan. Moving on, Ghana is set to benefit from the Australian government's $76 million pledge over 6 years to support climate-resilient farming across Africa. Speaking at the Climate Symposium at Ghana Communication Technology University, Australian High Commissioner to Ghana, Bernice Owen-Jones, emphasized the severe impact of climate change on agriculture. She noted that rising temperatures, erratic rainfall, and prolonged droughts pose a significant threat to food security on the continent.
We're very aware of the escalating impact of climate change, particularly in the areas of food security and agriculture. For this reason, drawing on Australia's very deep expertise, the Australian government will be investing over $76 million over a period of 6 years on research, on agriculture development, climate resilient agriculture, smart agriculture, and we're going to be doing this in Ghana as well, which I'm very pleased about. We also have a number of small grants, direct aid projects through our direct aid program across West Africa and also in Ghana, very much with a gender equality focus as well. There are too many examples to mention here.
Australian High Commissioner to Ghana, Bernice Owen-Jones there. Before we go, the president of the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, CIMG, Michael Abiu, has emphasized the need for mandatory certification of individuals in sales roles to enhance their knowledge, skills, and ethical standards, ultimately driving business revenue growth. Speaking at the launch of the National Sales Leaders Conference 2025, he noted that the evolving business landscape demands professionals who are well-versed in the latest sales strategies and market dynamics.
We need our CEO here to get their marketers to become professionals. What are we talking about when we say they must become professionals? We are talking about your brand managers, your PR managers, your account managers, your business development officers, your chief commercial officers, being able to be certified, to understand the ethics and the professionalism which must come into play when we sell or market our businesses. Just as you would expect the accountant to be certified, or you would expect your internal auditor to be certified, the man that holds the heart of your organization, the lifeblood, must also be certified. The Chartered Institute of Marketing exists just to make that happen. So through our certification programs, our training, and our continuous development, we equip marketing and sales teams with knowledge, skills, and the mindsets that would help your businesses grow.
And that was President of the Chartered Institute of Marketing Ghana, CIMG, Michael Abiu, ending the business segment on Hot Edition with me, Bismarck Ausa. For more business stories, please check out our website, 3news.com. Bill Eshan is here for the sport. Do stay.
there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on VFM's Hot Edition. My name is Bill Ishen. Now let's begin. Maxwell Konedu, former assistant coach of the Black Stars and former coach of Nsoatreman FC, has given his comments on participations of teams in the Ghana Premier League. He believes that the title race is getting as tighter as possible. That is the voice of former Leopards coach Maxwell Konedu. He believes that the title race will go down to the wire.
It's getting, keen. I've been following the Ghana Premier League even when I was out there. You could see that certain teams have, kept themselves in the top four, and the race is getting tougher and tougher, and it's making the competition tight. And that is what we need to do, to bring back the love from.
That was Maxwell Konedu, the former coach of Nsoatreman and also of Leopards FC in South Africa. But also, Prosper Nate Ogum is looking at winning the FA Cup trophy and the Premier League trophy, as well as the head coach of Asante Kotoko. Asante Kotoko are currently locked in an upcoming quarter-final battle of the MTN FA Cup with True Democracy FC.
Psychologically, we need to do everything right to be able to make sure that we keep our composure and we keep our focus. Once we are able to do that, I'm sure we'll be able to accumulate the points and then be a possible title contender. And the FA Cup too, I think, as I've already said, it's a cup match. It's a knockout game. So you don't take chances. You have to be serious in every game, right from the blast of the whistle to the end. Even if it's 90 plus 7 or plus 10 minutes or plus 1 minute, you have to stay focused, because a second loss of focus or concentration can cost you dearly. So if we want to win the two, one word I will use, focus. We just have to be focused.
Just have to be focused. That was the voice of Prosper Nate Ogum, the head coach of Asante Kotoko. Now, here are the fixtures in the quarterfinals of the MTN FA Cup. Atram Divisa will be facing PAC Academy. Brekum Chelsea would also face Bechem United on Saturday. And on Sunday, Karela United will be playing against Golden Cake FC, and Asante Kotoko will play against True Democracy. Among these 8 teams, only Asante Kotoko and Bechem United have won the MTN FA Cup in the past. Asante Kotoko have won 9, while Bechem United have won 1. 4 Premier League teams, 4 Division 1 League teams. And all these games will be played at the Babayara Sports Stadium in Kumasi. Now, moving on, Prosper Nate Ogum has praised the inclusion of Benjamin Asare in the Black Stars setup. Asare kept 2 clean sheets in the 2026 World Cup qualifiers, that is against Chad and Madagascar. And Prosper Ogum believes that if more local players are given the chance, they will shine.
For me, I was not surprised, because if you look at the number of games he has kept and the number of clean sheets that he has kept, I mean, it was a clear indication. If you are using data, I mean, I think whoever, met, whichever group of people met to decide that he has to be in goal, I think it was a good decision. So what I would say is that if he has been able to do it, it's a clear indication that there are other players too in the local league who, when given the necessary opportunity, the right opportunity, will be able to also showcase their talent. The Ghana Premier League has quality. People think that there's no quality in the Ghana Premier League. There's quality.
There's quality. That is according to Prosper Nate Ogum, the head coach of Asante Kotoko. Now, Black Stars winger Antoine Semenyo, who has returned to club football, has stated that he hopes Bournemouth go all the way to win the FA Cup. Bournemouth are currently in the quarterfinals of the competition and will be facing Manchester City later on Sunday.
Bournemouth winning the FA Cup, I mean, that would be a dream, but we have to take it step by step. So we have to be Man City when I go back, and we'll see how it goes.
That was Antoine Semenyo there speaking ahead of the FA Cup. Also in the camp of Manchester City, Pep Guardiola has stated that the team do not deserve to claim any bonus even if they go on to win the FA Cup. Now, Manchester City have been struggling so far this season and are still contenders for a place in the top 4, but look certain to be away from the Premier League title.
We don't deserve it this season. If you win the Club World Cup, we don't deserve bonus this season. The bonus is you win, I don't know how much you go there, it's for the club. The manager, the staff, backroom staff, players, we don't deserve.
We don't deserve the bonus. That is according to Pep Guardiola, the head coach of Manchester City. Now, here are the fixtures in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup in England. Fulham will be playing against Crystal Palace. Brighton will play against Nottingham Forest. Preston will play against Aston Villa. And Bournemouth will be playing against Manchester City, one of the biggest games on Sunday. There's also some fixtures in Ligue 1 to look forward to. PSG will travel to Saint-Etienne, who will be without one of the Black Stars players, Augustin Boachi, who recently got an ankle injury and is out for the rest of the season. Monaco will be facing Nice, that is Salisu returning to action for Monaco. Reims will be facing Marseille as well. And we have Toulouse will be facing Brest. Strasbourg will be facing Lyon and Ernest Niama. Angers will be facing Rennes. Auxerre will face Montpellier. Le Havre and André Ayew will be facing Nantes. And Lille will be facing Lens. These are the fixtures in Ligue 1. And in Serie A, we also have these fixtures for you. Como will face Empoli. Venezia will face Bologna. Juventus will face Genoa. Lecce will face AS Roma. Cagliari will face Monza. Fiorentina will face Atalanta. Inter versus Udinese. Napoli versus AC Milan. Verona versus Parma. And Lazio versus Torino. So these are the fixtures in Serie A. And in La Liga as well, title race. Real Sociedad versus Valladolid. Espanyol versus Atletico Madrid. Alaves versus Rayo Vallecano. Real Madrid versus Leganes. Getafe versus Villarreal. Barcelona versus Girona. Athletic Bilbao versus Osasuna. Valencia versus Mallorca. Real Betis versus Sevilla. And Celta de Vigo will be facing Las Palmas. And currently Barcelona are on top of the league with 63 points. Real Madrid are second with 60 points. And Atletico Madrid are third with 56 points. So it's looking like a race between Barcelona and Real Madrid for that title in La Liga. And finally, in the Bundesliga, here are the fixtures for you. Bayer Leverkusen will be facing Bochum. Bayern Munich will face St. Pauli. Hoffenheim will face Augsburg. Wolfsburg will face Heidenheim. Mönchengladbach will face Leipzig. Holstein Kiel will face Werder Bremen. Eintracht Frankfurt will face Stuttgart. Freiburg will face Union Berlin. And Dortmund will be facing Mainz. So these are the fixtures for Europe's top 5 leagues for you. Bringing an end to the sports segment here on the 3FM Hot Edition. My name is Bill Lishen. Alfred and the rest of the team are on standby with more.
It's the battle of the teams in a 3FM 60-day Fit Start Challenge. Which team will come up tops? Will it be Team Comfort or Team Helen? Will age and tact triumph? Or